Welcome into Celtics Late Night. It's good to be back. Ben Vallis here along with Jake Eisenberg. Jake, it's been a long off-season, but Celtics Late Night returns as the Celtics go 4-0 so far in the preseason. Jake, how you doing?
Oh, it feels good to be back. The intro coming in hot. It was bringing back fantastic memories, and no better way to be back than for the Jordan Walsh masterclass.
Oh my God, man.
It happened. It happened. It would have been awesome if you could have done this for us at Summer League when we flew across the world to see him live. But, you know, we just had to see the stepping stones on the way to greatness. And Celtics pull out another one, undefeated in the preseason.
Yeah, dude, they led by 34 at one point. We were celebrating, just like kicking back and celebrating the culture of this team. Like, how can these third stringers be that dominant against mostly rotation players there with the Raptors through the majority of the game? Obviously, it was close, towards the end. Jaden Springer, I think, had a lot to do with that, which we'll get to in depth in a little while. But early on, Peyton Pritchard absolutely cooking, like obviously splashing threes and on triple-double watch midway through the first quarter, but also 0 turnovers while handling like basically all of the ball handling duties through the entire first half. Rough shooting night for Sam Hauser, but he still played excellent like team basketball all around. And these guys are looking like the big kids in the room, among a sea or a plethora of mostly, deeper members of the rotation on either side, or in some cases like the Scotty Barnes of the world, like supposedly legit all-star level players. Pritchard and Sam Hauser are still looking like sort of the top echelon guys out there. It's amazing to see.
It is wild, the level of confidence exuding from Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard at this point. Like, you absolutely are right, man. They go out there, and I'm a sicko. I bet on the Celtics to win tonight because I believe in Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser to take Scotty Barnes, Jakob Poeltl, Chris Boucher, Grady Dick. Nothing for our white shooters, despite one of them not being able to hit anything tonight. But yeah, man, they were able to run the show. Like Sam Hauser's running some pick and roll. Peyton Pritchard, he's just at a different level there. Don't worry, we're going to get to Walshy soon. But I love this comment here. The W's did it tonight. We're used to talking about the J's. It was the W's tonight. Lonnie Walker and Jordan Walsh. How good. The J's and the W's. JW's. That's going to be the trend of the season. But yeah, man, Peyton Pritchard running the show and then everybody filing in. We've been talking about the culture last night, talked about it on the playback stream. Top to bottom, they play the right way. Yeah, things got away from them late. I had to sweat out the Dimitrov. And, it wasn't even him. He was our ninth string at that point. Yeah. With Anton Watson getting out there. But Ron Harper Jr., this is for the sickos today. But yeah, man, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, good to go. We gotta get to the W's there.
Yeah, JWs, just win. That's all they've been doing all preseason. We got to get to Jordan Walsh, our Lord and Savior, the subject of the first Celtics Late Night thumbnail of the season. And I guess really the overarching point for Walshy, and our friend Eric Weiss was saying this all throughout the playback stream, the game has just slowed down for this guy, and it's exhibited in so many facets of his game, even like running fast breaks, which is the fastest aspect of his slow down game. Like just his decision making sort of at a rapid pace has slowed down. He's cracking guys off the dribble. He's getting into the paint. He's finishing around the rim. He had that like hezzy and got his insane long dimensional arms to the rim with ease. He's making swing passes. He's grabbing offensive rebounds. He finished with 10 boards tonight. And of course, the 3-ball. I don't know like which of those aspects you want to dive into, Jake, but it's all coming up Walshy.
I think what's awesome is that, I mean, the fact that the game has clearly slowed down for him is the most important thing, that he can play within the flow of the offense, take advantage of advantages that the team creates for him. Mm-hmm. And I think like the shooting is a swing factor for him becoming like a NBA forever player, but can you like limit how important that is to your success? Like obviously he has to be able to be like some level of capable shooter, but you look at O'Shea Brissett, like he wasn't able to shoot to save his life last season, and he's still able to be at least enough of an impact on the Celtics team where it's like totally fine to play him those 630 minutes that we've been talking about, and Jordan Walsh finding other ways outside of shooting the ball to impact the game. So he goes 1 for 4 from 3 tonight, but he still pours in 16 points. So, and all of that was inside the arc. I mean, you talked about that move, the Smitty. He comes into the middle of the lane, and this is on Jakob Poeltl. He's like straight up one of the better rim protectors in the NBA. Obviously, he's probably got his foot off the gas a little bit in preseason as a veteran that he is. But Walsh, poised, under control, hits him with a confident, fake, and then back to the middle. Those go-go gadget arms, man. Like, it makes a lot of sense that in the future, or hopefully in the very near future, he's going to be able to finish around the rim. And he had multiple beautiful layups. He kind of looked like Jason Tatum on some of these, like long arms reaching up and scoring around the outstretched arms of the rim protector. That's what you love to see. And they're using him on the short roll. That's another thing that they've been doing, which has become a staple of the Celtics offense, has been like wing guard screen and rolls. Whether it's Tatum, Jalen, whoever, anyone's able to get into that action, and he's like a big target. He's like got that 7'2" wingspan, and so can he get into dangerous spots and then just decide what to do from there? Whether it's go up strong to try and finish or hit guys on the wing, which he was doing as well tonight. Like truly an all-around game. You saw the rebounding you talked about, 10 boards tonight, some big rebounds. Like, this is the vision, right? 6'7", 7'2" wingspan, hyper athlete, good feel on offense, and the shooting is probably a little gonna, come and go. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. It is, absolutely. In those short roll situations, like you said, you need to be able to not panic in that specific situation because you're going to get pressure and you're going to have to make a quick decision under duress. And it's the preseason. He maybe hasn't seen the most elite personnel in his time out there so far, but you're going to get a similar amount of pressure no matter which personnel you're getting it from in terms of the opposition. And he is demonstrating his ability to make quick decisions out of that short roll situation. Like you said, that is a mainstay of the Celtics offense. So that's really good in terms of his longevity going forward into the season. And then specifically filling the O'Shea minutes, the rebounding, you touched on it, 10 boards tonight, but 4 offensive rebounds, just having a nose for those boards and specifically filling in that skill set of O'Shea Brissett coming in and just like snatching up, seizing offensive rebounds is huge in terms of replacing that skill set alone. I don't know. We could probably do Walshy all night.
Defensively as well. I mean, that's what's kind of been interesting is that I wouldn't say the defense is like really, really like he hasn't come out and been some like destructive force defensively. And it's funny how these things go. Like who knows how this player will progress. Walsh could, he makes a little step forward on offense and maybe the defense comes next or whatever. We don't really know how that's going to be, but I think maybe we saw the vision a little bit tonight where on-ball defense, as it stands right now, maybe not his strength, where he's kind of having some issues staying in front of quicker guys, and then he's having some issues getting bullied by other guys. But what he is able to do as a help defender with his athleticism, with his length, he was able to get hands in passing lanes, get some deflections. Did he have a block tonight? I feel like it was it was a steal. So I remember him coming over the top, like from help side, like again, a la Tatum, right? Like that's what Tatum's best skill is as a defender. He's just an incredible help defender and like the versatility, obviously, but he's so good helping at the nail and then recovering back out to his man and getting steals when guys pick up their dribble, when Tatum digs down, try to throw the pass back over where Tatum came from, Tatum gets the steal. I saw a little flash of that. I saw the vision of maybe Jordan Walsh going to the school of Jason Tatum help defense. And so that makes more sense to me right now with what his body is capable of doing. Like he's just not big enough to deal with like some of these guys. And then quick guards, that's a lot to ask of bigger players.
Yeah, and we're in the middle of this sort of pendulum swing in the NBA as far as the rapid physical development of players. And like we've learned, I say we, like player development staffs and coaching
we know.
physio staffs. Yeah, we've learned subsequently that it's problematic to like stack on too much muscle too quickly for young guys. And so for Jordan Walsh to find other ways to be impactful defensively, like with that help defense, I think is really important while he has the luxury of taking his time to like gain the physical tools to be a better one-on-one defender. I think we know like he has a nose for that style of play because that's where he really excelled in the college game. But NBA, physically and speed-wise, athleticism overall, it's just a completely different playing field. So hopefully that's something he can develop over time. But as far as his impact this season, like he's starting to show flashes of how he could get that, sort of those O'Shea Brissett minutes coming into this season, which is really promising. It's one of the key things we've been looking for and searching for through this preseason. Another thing we've been searching for. Am I about to move on too quickly?
No. I was just thinking about how great it would be, and this is why we were excited. Like, you draft your 37th overall pick. It's become a bit on the show. I've got Jake Eisenberg, Jordan Walsh, and Joya on my name here on YouTube. Like, you're gonna have ridiculous hope with these guys that come in, because why not? But while also kind of understanding that statistically 37th overall picks don't typically turn into like championship rotation players, but you understand how impactful that can be to like sustaining a contender if that is what happens. And so like you see this happening and it's like, oh my God, does he take a step forward this year? And then by the time he gets to the end of this like cheap contract similar to Hauser, we're able to get him on the next contract as we're trying to retool his roster. And I was just sitting back imagining the reality of Jordan Walsh being able to step into like this backup legit wing role in a couple of years.
Yeah, it's one of the more fun aspects of following a sports team. Like if you follow them so closely that you know everything about them, including like what they need and like what aspects they need out of like a deep reach in the second round. And then you see them pick up a guy like Walshy and you go, okay, and you start to study Walshy a little bit and understand what his skill sets and tool sets are as a player, and understand that his ceiling maybe in the short term is like a good enough 3-and-D guy off the bench that could be legitimately helpful in a rotation. And to start to see him flash those aspects of his game, it's very satisfying because you've sort of been tracking it the whole way. I think we all have, everyone in the chat as well, and to see it start to come to fruition, only the very early iteration of that, it's very exciting. Not championship winning level of exciting, but it's like up there in terms of one of the more nerdy, enjoyable aspects of following a team. So you love to see it.
Yeah, dude, these late, like hitting on a late pick like this there's nothing better, because it goes back to the experience as a fan. Like, winning a championship last year was obviously like incredible, but like the experience of being a fan when you're the championship favorite is like has its pitfalls, because anytime you lose, you're always expected to win. So anytime you lose, it's like you're just not allowed to lose games. And so if the Celtics had lost the finals, even if they don't win the championship this year, it's like, they should have won. And the Isaiah Thomas year, the Jason Tatum rookie year, exceeding expectations is so fun. And so having someone like Walsh, again, preseason, but this is what we do, man. We're going to get excited. Why not?
Every year, without a doubt. Lonnie Walker, tell me why he isn't a lock for the 15th spot at this
Oh my
point,
God.
Jake.
Man, it would feel like a disaster to like let him go, to me.
Yeah.
Like you saw it tonight, man. Like he has the pop. Like he is a straight up hooper, and he's trying to play the right way. He's making the extra pass. I thought the playmaking really popped tonight. We have this play from the playback here, and you just don't find guys like this. Swing it. There we go. Pull it out.
Oh, what a finish! Big smile on his face.
Give him a lifetime contract immediately.
Yeah, lifetime deal.
Give him the lifetime deal. Like run a little pick and roll, attack a closeout, Euro step around one defender, and then finish around the next defender. That just doesn't you don't find guys with this type of upside very often. And going back to what I was saying before about like Walsh and the long-term view of this team, the idea of losing Lonnie Walker when he has the potential to turn into something that could be a long-term piece for this team, like down the line as we're trying to create this sustainable contender, like he fits exactly, like you see the vision, can be an electric three-point shooter, can run pick and roll, create offense, and defensively you can tell that he's fighting and starting to learn the system. And you contrast that with Springer, who has his spot right now. That's who has his spot right now. And it's like, we're trying to fucking win a title, man. I'm not trying to give minutes to Jaden Springer right now when Lonnie Walker, I can guarantee come into a playoff game and swing a game, swing a series. He's done that before, and you can see it now. It's like he's too good to be going down to the G League. Give him the 15th roster spot, Wick. Steal the credit card. Come on.
Yeah, he does need to steal the credit card, the checkbook, whatever it is. I imagine Irv still has a checkbook, a valid checkbook somewhere. Does Springer has his spot though? Because like Springer doesn't really have a spot in the rotation. I know he has a legitimate roster spot, but there's still one more roster spot remaining. Like in theory, Lonnie Walker could be signed with the 15th spot, but then like still be part of the rotation. He could essentially play the role of a 9th or 10th spot.
This is the thing, and it's hard to know. Like there's a lot of people, we were just listening to the Garden Report before this, and they were very confident in the fact that he's gonna end up in Maine. And you can sign Lonnie Walker to the 15th spot and then trade Springer down the line, and then your tax bill counts against like those 14 players you end the season with. And so that is definitely an option. So yeah, it's hard to pass because some people, Noah or Bobby are far more plugged in than we are, right? And they're quite confident. But like a lot of people didn't think that Sam Hauser's contract was going to get done because it's like at some point you can't just extend everybody, but that got done as well. So if you use that logic, then of course Lonnie Walker's going to be here. If the decision is make the team better or don't make the team better, Brad Stevens has chosen the path of making the team better at every possible step. So it's definitely not off the table that he can get the 15th roster spot. And I hope so, man, because he can come in and like fill in immediately in the Pritchard role.
Yeah, I was kind of bummed out to hear how confident Bobby and Noah are in the fact that he'll probably end up in Maine if he does stay with the organization. Like, it seems like you should be doing everything you can to hold on to him. And I know that's a version of holding on to him playing in the G League for a little bit, but I love Jaden Springer. I love the idea of his development and what he could bring and the Schadenfreude aspect of him coming from the Sixers and us like spinning him into something. But it seems like a no-brainer that Lonnie Walker should end up on this team, at least rotationally speaking, over Jaden Springer. And then you add the additional minutes from Tillman that we'll probably get this year now that his knee's healthy, now that his shot is apparently healthy as well. And if you want to talk another person who's competent out of short roll situations, that's certainly Xavier Tillman as well. You add Lonnie Walker and Xavier Tillman to the bench depth that's already Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser in that sort of postseason rotation as well. Like, that is some serious 9-man depth. Horford as well, 10-man depth.
It's crazy.
That's insane. So what do I know? But I feel like you should be really making a play to make sure that Lonnie Walker not only is on the roster, but he's sniffing some minutes, or at least an opportunity for some minutes based on matchups every night.
There's short-term upside and long-term upside. Like, there's so many reasons to make sure that he stays on this team, not to mention the fact that he could get picked up by someone else. Now, we were talking to Eric Weiss on the playback before, and like, he could go down to the G League, and if a roster spot or a team decides that they want to pick him up, like, the Celtics can still decide, okay, in that scenario, another team has forced our hand, and now we'll bring Springer onto the roster because we don't want to lose him. But there's a reason Lonnie Walker took an Exhibit 10 deal. No one else offered him anything else. There are very, very limited roster spots around the NBA right now. Like, there just aren't. Like, the Knicks, for example, can't afford to pay someone a veteran's minimum, is my understanding. And so, like, they can't bring in someone like Lonnie Walker, which I know we discussed previously. And so that's a way to approach it as well. It's like, okay, send him down to Maine. He's going to play a lot more at Maine. You continue to get him to learn the system, learn to play Missoula ball, and then you bring him up. So there's definitely a couple of avenues here. But yeah, you have to try and keep this guy, dude. Like, he's too good.
I refuse to believe that Brad Stevens will let him slip through the cracks or let him slip through his fingers or whatever analogy you want to use. Like, it's right there. We're trying to repeat. Like, we haven't seen any signs of this so far, but there will be challenges, obviously, upcoming throughout the season, potentially injuries and things like that. The grind of a regular season, where to have a guy like that with those talents, those abilities, proven NBA abilities in your rotation, or at least on the roster to choose from on any given night, would be a massive asset. So to let that slip through your fingers would be pretty devastating. I guess I find it difficult to believe that he would be okay with the G League role.
Yeah.
But he keeps saying the right things, so you just have to believe what he's throwing out there.
Well, right now he doesn't have a choice, I guess, right? Like, right
Sure.
now it's G League or no job. So as of now, taking the G League job at whatever the salary is still pretty good. And like, we can talk about he should turn down, let's say a veterans minimum role does come up, and it's like, no, like it could be possible that him staying in the Celtics G League system is better for the long term of his career. But man, you cannot turn down a $2.4 million contract versus like a $200,000, $300,000 contract for the G League. Like you just can't, like you can't do that.
Yeah,
you can just be like, I'm gonna take the contract. I'll be back next year, man. So I'll take another Exhibit 10 next year. Hopefully I make the team. But like, I cannot. You just can't pass up that type of money if you don't know that it's ever gonna come up again. And so, from that perspective, it's hard for you to if you're Lonnie Walker, even if it's the fucking Pistons or the Hornets, whoever, who's probably not going to develop him in the way that I feel like we've already seen the signs of the development with Lonnie, like making the right play, had a nice block today. You know, you can already see it. And even the mentality, you know, he has that post on Instagram about reshaping who he is, like as a player and as a person. Like, as I said yesterday, the therapy Celtics, man.
Yeah, we talked about it on the pod last night. Like he's showing flashes of like Missoula ball abilities, I suppose. So for him to be making an effort to put that on display, you would hope is an indication of his, you know, intent to spend some time with this team. But we're getting into like way too speculative waters here. Yeah. Hopefully they're in the back tunnels of TD Garden right now, putting ink to paper and putting this all to rest. Maybe it won't matter though, because our guy Littlefoot, Drew Peterson, long neck from the last time. He was like pretty damn, I would say easily the best game in a Celtics jersey, the big boy Celtics team jersey. Thoughts on Drew Peterson's performance? Yeah,
we've been on it, man. We've been pretty like, okay, early preseason, we like the game. And yeah, this is why you got to be in the, here he is, Eric Weiss in the chat, is why you got to be in the playback room watching the games live, talking about Drew Peterson, the man with the long neck. If you haven't seen The Land Before Time, the old dinosaur cartoon, Littlefoot, one of the main characters, the goat with the long neck, that is now Drew Peterson, which is like pretty sick nickname, can't lie.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, he's fucking good. Like, I love his game. He like stuffs the stat sheet like in Maine all the time, and he was able to do that tonight. I'm trying to find where is his stats here, man. 23 points tonight, man. 3 for 5 from 3. 8 got to the line a bunch, and like for someone who was so skinny, he did a good job holding his line on a couple of drives and like mixing it up around the rim as well. Like he must have a tough time gaining weight because he is so skinny. Like even Jordan Walsh looks thicker than him, and he's like 4 years younger than Drew Peterson. So like that must be a real challenge for him. But man, size, dribble, like the shooting looked good tonight. And can he become an NBA player? You start to see the vision. You start to see him get better. Like, can he just be that, you know, a 9th, 10th, 11th guy who can come in, run the system, and be effective in spots throughout the regular season? Man, I'm loving the main Celtic pipeline right now. Everybody that comes in, Drew Peterson looking like a tall Peyton Pritchard out there running the show.
It's very European soccer-esque. You've got like your youth squad. I've spent some time in my life playing a lot of FIFA, so I'm leaning into this knowledge base here. But, you know, you've got players out on loan. You've sort of got multiple development pipelines, and, you know, obviously less so. It's mostly limited to the main Celtics with our guys here. But to have them all coming up and a lot of those long-term play development stories coming to fruition, even if it is just the preseason. Like Drew Peterson has been a name on our radar via Maine for a long time, and tonight he made one of those corner skip passes, and I was like, holy shit, that looks like not too long ago Jason Tatum pass. And then he made like 4 more of them throughout the second half alone, and it's like, where the fuck did that come from? All of a sudden he's bringing the ball up, we're running shit through him, he's like the sole playmaker in lieu of JD Davison, who took some possessions off, and it looked like they were really leaning on him for a little bit. So it seems like they know about this skill set, they know about what he's developing, and they're starting to be more comfortable leaning on him in some of those situations, again, albeit in preseason against a pretty diminished, depleted Raptors team. But you love to see it.
I mean, in theory, like Drew Peterson should be undermatched compared to these guys. Like he's the starter on the main Celtics. Like I get that he's a bit older, but he looked like one of the best players on the court at times tonight. The passing, man, it was like he was like just growing with confidence, and that's maybe like the takeaway for this whole team. like Walsh's confidence, like walking around with swag. Lonnie Walker, I think, just like came out the womb with confidence. Like that guy's just born with swag. But like Drew Peterson throwing these crazy passes and then like getting downhill, playing with a ton of confidence, and I like his game, and he's taken steps forward in this preseason as well. And again, you think about the future of the team. It's like, I don't know if he can be an NBA player. I can see it. Can he just gain a little bit more weight, get a little bit stronger? But does he develop into the ninth man, the 10th man? Who knows? But you can see that he's like, I think he's at least 24. I remember his first game. He came in at it was the Clippers game, I think, last season, and he played over Walsh, and we were furious. And we're like, who's this long-necked Drew Peterson guy? And look at him now, man. He's a Celtics legend.
Yeah, I know Peyton Pritchard had the turtleneck on. Maybe that's a fashion tip he needs to share with Drew, just to sort of bring the dimensional aspects of the neck. That's a terrible affliction. But look, Scott's
would that not have the opposite effect potentially?
I don't know. Someone who wears turtlenecks, someone who has a long neck in the chat, let us know. I have no idea. Never donned a turtleneck in my entire life.
I thought you were saying that you as a turtleneck guy, and I was like, I didn't know that about you.
No, maybe that's in my future. So Drew Peterson, Littlefoot. We'll get Drew Carter back on the show. We'll incept the Littlefoot name into his mind and get that rolling. That'll be the house money of 2025, hopefully. Do you want to talk a little bit about Jaden Springer? It's all been pretty positive from us so far. We don't have to run any ads on this show, so we can just keep it rolling. Yeah. Jaden Springer kind of felt like he lost the battle against himself tonight, Jake.
Oh, boy. Rough. And, man, we're a positive show. I've clearly been biased. I'm not sure if biased against Jaden Springer. I've just not really seen it from the beginning, and I continue to not see it. And I thought today was a really rough showing. He got benched essentially today. He had a second turnover, and Joe stapled him to the bench for a while. He didn't come back in until the deep bench. J.D. Davidson got the minutes ahead of Springer. He just doesn't do the things that he's supposed to be really good at. Defensively, he's okay he's fine, but it's not popping on the screen in a way that it needs to be. And physically on offense, we were talking about in the playback, he's this thick, strong dude. He's got quads, and he's always off balance. He's always falling down on offense. Whether it's driving to the rim or taking mid-range pull-ups, he's always off balance. And for a guy that's supposed to be an explosive athlete and have this really sturdy frame, he doesn't know how to use it at all. And he's been in the NBA and been in the G League now for coming into his fourth season. I don't understand how he would get any minutes right now. And it feels like they really want him to, because they traded for him, obviously. And he's making this money, and there's some minutes to be had. But right now, I the decision making. He got in his own head, and then he was everybody was popping. The ball was moving. No matter who touched it, it was moving, finding the right guy. It was the beautiful Celtics Missoula ball machine, and Springer was a record scratch a couple of times. He had one play. I'm not sure if it was an offensive rebound, but it came out to him on the wing, and Walsh was pretty close to him, but it was a very easy just touch pass right next to a wide open Walsh, and he didn't make it. Ended up making the pass a second later, and Walsh took a deeper, more contested three, which he splashed, which is one of his only threes tonight, which was sick. But just little things like that everybody else is doing right now that he didn't do. And so I do not see it. I do not see it.
Yeah, everyone else is playing so much for the betterment of the team that Jaden Springer out there clearly playing for himself and define some sort of role for himself. It just stood out like a sore thumb, way too obviously. And it's a trap, I think, that a lot of young players in a similar situation who are trying to, draw some attention, positive attention towards themselves. Look what I can do. Look how capable I am. If not for a role on this team, other scouts elsewhere should be looking at this as well. It was just so clear, and it's just not the right way to play the game. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of players in his position just feel they need to just do something a little extra. And in this team, especially in Missoula Ball, you can't be individually extra. You need to do everything for the betterment of the team. And, ironically, that's a really good way to stand out, is to be a really functional cog in that machine. And he just wasn't. So it's the same, because, he had that peak of Vegas Summer League in the Cox Pavilion. Yeah. We saw it 5 rows back from the bench. It was awesome. And since then, it's been a pretty steep decline, unfortunately. But Eric Weiss, again, who joined us for most of the playback stream of the game, he was saying like most execs like don't make a lot of their decisions based on what you see in the preseason. So like, do you think we're going to see a sudden decision here, or is he just going to kind of stick around, if nothing else, as a bit of a trade piece?
I think he's going to have to stay around right now because I think if you're going to try and trade him, like no one's taking him into an empty roster spot right now.
Yeah.
Like the archetype of a 6'3" guard who like he can jump high if he loads up on 2 feet, but he's not able to use his athleticism to be effective on the court. Who can't, like, he shot 2 threes tonight. I think, yeah, 2 for 2 from 3. But like his offensive game is very, very limited. It's not an archetype that anyone wants to trade for right now. So like you're going to have to attach a pick to get it done. He's going to be on this team. That's why I think he keeps getting minutes. It's like it would be very beneficial to the Celtics if he was just able to play and contribute to winning right now. Look, it is interesting to me they don't make personnel decisions on preseason and stuff like that. Like obviously they're seeing these guys in practice every single day, so they have a ton more information than we do. But like these are real games, and you're getting real information. Like Spring hasn't played that many NBA minutes before, and so like these are like large percentage data points in his NBA career so far, and you can't really move him. So I expect him to be on the roster, but I do not expect him to be in the rotation. Even Delano Banton, I feel like was showing way more than this. When he was in preseason last year, and even when he was playing, and he'd showed more in the NBA prior to this as well. So Jaden Springer, tough times. But yeah, shout out Cruz in the chat. Shout out everybody in the chat. Late Night's back. Like the stream. Help us out. Let's go. One little finger twitch. Hit that little like. Get the fellas going. We're closing in on 10. Yeah, subscribe would be good. We're closing in on 10K subscribers here. The first of the 4 takeover is on the way, and you guys are a huge part of that. But yeah, man. Queta?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, anyone else stand out to you? And Queta, I was going to say I feel nauseous from the Queta roller coaster because stats-wise, looking at the box score, pretty good game for the Queta lovers out there. We know there's quite a few. Shout out to RJ. I'm not sure if he's in the chat. But, 15 boards, 5 assists, 6 offensive rebounds, 12 points, a plus 16. Like, good counting stats for Queta. That said, so many deficiencies in his game, and this is where I always have to stop myself because it's like, are my expectations too high? For example, I just feel like we get no spacing off any of the screens he sets, on ball or off ball. Like he just doesn't catch enough of his defender or the person that he's screening. Just little things, and that's kind of tantamount to the Missoula Ball offense. Is like you need to get spacing off those screens to get the defense in rotation and get things moving. And Queta just doesn't contribute in that way. Am I asking too much of him, Jake? Are my expectations too high?
Yeah, I mean probably, but I'm with you. But like he's our 5th big. He is like KP, Horford, Tillman, Cornette, Tillman, and then Queta. Not to mention Tatum/Jalen being able to play the 4 and the 5 at times as well. Yep. But expectations are high. This is the Boston Celtics, man. Like, and Queta wants those expectations as well. He's just gonna go to the Luke Cornette school of screening. Like Cornette talked about that in his post-game press conference yesterday, and Missoula was like lauding him for his improved screening angles, and that's like such a niche thing, dude. But it has a massive impact because if you're able to create inches more of separation on these screens, I mean, it just makes a massive impact. So, yeah, look, what I will say is he's really big, really long arms, and can jump high. It's like the rebounding is real, dude. Like he's a good rebounder. So he can go out there. What do you have? Yeah, 15 boards tonight, right? 6 offensive. A couple of those came off his own misses. Definitely got a bit of Enos freedom to him there. He's got a little O'Shea Brissett-itis as far as putting the orange ball in the basket.
Yes.
Like 3 for 8 when I don't think any of the shots. He had that 1 3-pointer. So let's call it 3 for 7 to be fair to him. Goes 6 for 6 from the line, so we like that. But when most of your shots are coming from 5 to 7 feet or in, and you're shooting below 50%, like that's really bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will admittedly say that I'm also making sure that I get on the pre-sale for Oasis tickets as well. So
is that today?
My mind is sort of wandering towards that. So I apologize. I just want to confirm that you are talking about Baylor. We have shifted to Baylor Scheierman, or are we still?
No,
on
we have not. Still on Queta. Still on Queta.
I heard some stuff that definitely aligned with the Baylor Scheierman experience.
Baylor Scheierman also having problems putting the orange ball in the basket right now. But yeah, like I think before we I was just saying that Queta. Like, you got to be able to finish 60% of your shots if you're going to shoot 5 feet in. But here's the thing: play with the proper dudes. Like for all intents and purposes, when he's going to be playing real minutes, he showed us that last year. He is good enough to like catch a lob. We're not going to be throwing we threw the ball to him in the post a couple times tonight. Like, that's not going to happen when he's playing with the regulars. So take that stuff away. Like, really, it's just lobs and offensive rebounds that we want him taking anyway. So I don't think even his 52% field goal percentage is going to be that damaging, because I can't see him taking many shots. But like, just talking about Queta in general, like that's like he's got to work on his touch, that's just reps, and he hasn't just got to keep playing.
Yeah, you mentioned he's big and tall and he can jump. Like, maybe that should just be where the bar is set for Queta, because, if he's going to go to the Luke Cornett School of Screening, is there a postgraduate class that he can do on the Luke Cornett, like, catching dump-offs as well? Because he sort of failed on that front a lot tonight as well. I don't think it's that much to ask a professional basketball player to catch the fucking ball and put it in the basket. But anyway, fifth center, like you said, I digress.
Fifth center.
Yeah, sorry, my mind did wander there. I apologize. We are live on the internet. I should pay better attention. So sorry about that, Jake. But I've got my finger on the button here for Oasis tickets. I don't even really like Oasis that much. Just cultural event. Feel like I want to go if I can get tickets. So anyway,
I'm a fan. Don't look back in anger. Wonderwall, like you can't, like your Champagne Supernova. Definitely
bangers.
Definitely been intoxicated singing those things pretty loud many times in my life. Don't Look Back in Anger, a great driving song. But yeah, Baylor Scheierman.
The Shy Man.
He's going to 0 for 6. I like that he kept shooting, but yeah, tough.
Does he have a pass in your mind at this point? Like, last pick of the first round, we don't need anything from him. It'll be great if we were like, oh, wow, Brad definitely hit on that pick like early on, but we don't need that to be the case at all. To me, given what Walshy's displayed so far, Baylor kind of is the beneficiary of that, because it's like suddenly there's like way less pressure on him. Yeah,
it's a weird one. Like, it's a good point. I should care that our first round pick has kind of looked like garbage. So like,
yeah, that's a good point.
It's not good that he's looked bad. He's 24. He's had a ton of experience playing in college. In theory, one of the more NBA ready guys. That was kind of the scouting report. But he hasn't. But it doesn't matter, because we don't need our first round pick to be good. That's why you picked 30th for a reason. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess I probably should be bit more disappointed, really, but I guess I'm just like so overjoyed with the Walsh and the Lonnie Walker stuff that like and Hauser and Pritchard, like it's hard to be too concerned when you've got other options. But if Walsh had not looked good and Lonnie wasn't here, like we'd be like, oh shit, is Springer actually the guy that we have to put into those minutes? That would be like not concerning necessarily, but somewhat disappointed. But he shot so well in college for all 4 years. I'm pretty confident that will kind of come around. Just got to get into Maine, get in better shape. I don't have any concerns. This is the thing about summer league and preseason. Things go well, read in. Things don't go too well, you can just be like, oh, small sample size. It's his first NBA minutes, speed of the game, yada yada yada. He could come in the second half of the season after playing in Maine, feel a lot more comfortable and look great.
We were talking about it in the playback as well. Like, he's not the guy who's going to come in and just blow people away with his talent and athleticism and explosiveness. Like, he is a feel guy, and he had a really good feel for the college game, and he needs to sort of recalibrate that feel for the pros now as well. And that's not going to happen in 3 preseason games and a bit of summer league. So give him some time. Anything else you want to touch on from this game? I know sort of it was talked about that we're going to see Al Horford in the next and final preseason game in a couple of days' time. I would imagine we see all the starters back for that one as well, and it's considered kind of a ramp-up game heading into opening night.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect. It sounds like Horford's going to play. I would expect the starters to play as well. They seem to be wanting to get a rhythm, get Horford some minutes with the main guy, the regulars. I keep saying main, and it like confuses my own brain because like the main Celtics. I wish they just stayed as the Red Claws. I might just keep calling them the Red Claws for
That's
ease
fair.
because like the main guys means the regular starters, the Boston Celtics. Yeah, so I forgot what I was saying.
Horford is going to play.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
It would be malpractice for him to not play with the starters, I think. Like to throw
I agree.
38-year-old Horford out there and ask him to carry a higher load with a bunch of guys who have less of an idea of what they're doing. So if Horford's going to play, then I think it's a very fair assumption that the starters are going to play as well.
Yep. I like that. I mean, hey, you throw him out there with Hauser and Peyton Pritchard to win that thing by 40. So
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Either way. But no, nothing else from that preseason game. I think 40 minutes on the preseason game that involved 0 of the starters is probably good.
Yeah. Quick for us, if nothing else. Especially we did a pod like less than 24 hours ago as well, which is if you've enjoyed the show and you're new to the channel, check that one out. Subscribe. Hit the notification button as well, which is a thing that people ask viewers to do. I've never done that for any channel. I'm just online all the time, I guess, but we do go live more often than I think than most YouTube channels. And if you do want to be notified if and when we're going live, hit the notification button. I think that puts us in pretty good stead with the algorithm as well. So that would probably be helpful for the growth of this channel. So subscribe, enable notifications, like the stream, do all those great things, and just engage with us, and we'll definitely engage back.
That's right.
Trying to think of a way to segue engagement into this next piece of information. Joel Embiid is engaged with medical doctors again, I guess is where we'll go. We've got the tweet here from Tim Bontemps. The Sixers say Joel Embiid is progressing well in his ramp-up process for his left knee and will continue to stay on an individual treatment plan to prepare for the upcoming regular season, and he won't play in the preseason. This is the first bit of news about Embiid, other than why haven't we seen him in the preseason yet? After seeing him look pretty healthy and pretty impactful in the Olympics as well. So if you have a look at the Sixers subreddit, Jake, they're rightfully shitting their pants over this news.
Yeah, dude. Would freak me out. Yeah. Like, there's a difference between Kristaps Porzingis having injury concerns and Joel Embiid having injury concerns because the Sixers' hopes live and die with the health of Joel Embiid. Mm-hmm. And for him to obviously has the knee surgery towards the end of last season, plays in the Olympics. Didn't have a great Olympics, but he played great in that Serbia game. Like Zach Lowe was talking about how that may be Joel Embiid's greatest moment as a basketball player, which I think is potentially true. And for him to go from that, hearing nothing about an injury, to then being like, oh yeah, like he's actually still recovering from an injury, which would be terrifying because like 30 years old now, how many Matthew Jensen, Joel Embiid is engaged with the buffet table? I'm just reading that. We're not laughing about injuries. Yep. But like that's because man, it sucks for him, man. Like he's just had so many of these lower body injuries, and that was why I went under on the Sixers 52.5 win total. Is it's very hard to believe that he's going to be able to play more than 60 games, or if he even should play 60 games, even if he's healthy, because something will pop up and he won't be healthy for the playoffs. This is a disaster. In piece of information, not like obviously like he's going to be out for multiple weeks, but like, you know, when Rob Williams would come out with a piece of information, it's like, oh, like, yeah, he's actually not ready to play just yet, and we're like, oh no, it's fine. It's just they're being careful, but it actually means that it's not fine. That's what this feels like to me.
Yeah, for me, like the Schadenfreude, it's nothing to do with the injury itself or Joel Embiid. Obviously, we don't celebrate injuries. We don't wish that upon anybody, even if they do play for the Sixers. It's just, again, the Sixers organization just sort of fumbling this information, and it's like everything is presumably fine with Embiid, and then it comes out that he's clearly not, and now there's a ramp up, and will he or won't he be ready for the regular season, or like what does that look like? Like Tyson, our Discord, was sort of talking about that it could be by design. And this is just they're creating an injury cloud that they can sort of hide under throughout the season if they do want to rest him. So I don't know. We'll obviously be tracking that closely because like what goes on with the Sixers kind of impacts what's going on with the Celtics as well. But just interesting, another sort of injury information management fumbling going on where the Sixers. I think we've got time for one more piece here, Jake, before we wrap up. There was this clip after a preseason game today. The Wolves versus the Knicks. Dante DiVincenzo and Rick Brunson barking at each other towards the end of the game.
Road trip, and the last game of the road trip was on Wednesday in Chicago, so we will probably see him soon. So Jacob Toppin was unavailable today, tweaked his ankle. There's the Villanova reunion.
So the starters played over 25, 26 minutes tonight. Brunson, usual play, high scoring. Bridges providing offense. OG, very offensive minded tonight.
Yeah,
So some additional context there. There's another clip I saw on NBA Reddit. I was trying to dig up more information around what was going on here, and Dante was barking at Tibbs like, "Thanks for the trade. See what happens when you put me in the driver's seat." Like, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said.
He was like, "This is what happens when you run the show." So I'm like, who is he talking to exactly? I wasn't sure. So was that Tibbs? Like, when he was saying, "This is what happens when you run the show," is in this what happens when Tibbs run the show. And then I just put another clip in the Discord, in the live chat on YouTube here, and it is Randall like dapping up one of the Knicks coaches, and then the Knicks coach like kind of like gets in his face and like presses him, and Randall's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, what's going on? Like, since when do like coaches of teams get in the faces of players? It's not a thing, dude. What the fuck?
I think this is what we can file under "you love to see it," because while we're drifting in this sort of upper tier of championship vibes, you want to see this infighting and this drama and this sort of non-injury style of Schadenfreude. So
yeah, this is tastier for sure.
Details to emerge, but obviously there's some issues here, and we want things like this to impact the Knicks negatively.
Yes.
So preseason levels of like sniffing this kind of thing out, but there's definitely something there. Anything on all of the above, Jake, you want to add before we wrap this thing up?
No, yeah, it is interesting. There definitely feels like there's bad blood with the Minnesota New York trade. Probably on both sides. So we love to see that. Yeah, this is the type of stuff we want. We want infighting. We want like the first 2 weeks of the Knicks season to go bad and the Wolves to have a good 2 weeks of the season, so they start to regret the trade, and DiVincenzo's going nuts, and Randall's like looking like the all NBA version that he can be. And meanwhile, Towns like can't shoot threes. He's getting dusted on defense. Like, and then the tension starts to build. We get the next matchup between the Knicks and the Timberwolves. This is actually quite interesting because we were kind of anti-Timberwolves because of the Anthony Edwards-Tatum thing. But now it's like I'm kind of pro Timberwolves.
Hell yeah.
Pro Timberwolves means bad for the Knicks.
Yes.
Which is good. I like it.
Love to see it. Interesting. Well, we'll be tracking that along with everything we've already talked about, what's going on with the 15th roster spot, Jordan Walsh's ascendance, Lonnie Walker, etc. Shout out to the chat. Thanks to everyone for joining us on the first episode of Celtics Late Night for this season. Looking forward to doing many more of these as the season rolls on. Sign up to the Patreon. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you want us to discuss on the next podcast. This will go up, speaking of the podcast, on the audio podcast feed. So make sure you subscribe there over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Jake Eisenberg, love your work, man. Until next time, go Celtics.